Downton Dish. I'm Marlise Boland.
I'm Elise Ashton.
And the Downton Dish is going to be our chat show where we discuss everything Downton Abbey. We're going to discuss the previous week's episode as well as
other fun Downton stuff. The fashions, the etiquette, the characters,
the merchandise.
What we think is going to happen.
Exactly.
What we know is going to happen.
What we know is going to happen.
What we hope is going to happen.
I know. So we hope you join us each week for tea.
A little Downton dirt.
Downton dirt. Yeah. That's a good term. Okay, so let's discuss the long-awaited season 5 premiere of Downton Abbey.
It feels like forever for those episodes to come to America, and we know our friends in England have seen them. Don't make us come to England every week to watch TV, though that would be fun.
A good point. Why, Julian Fellows, don't you air the show at the same time that they get it in England?
Because then we get spoilers. That's happened
all the time. You can't get on Twitter. Okay, you can't follow any Downton Abbey Twitter accounts or anybody discussing Downton when it premieres in the UK because you just get spoilers.
When the horrible incident with Matthew happened, I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming, and I'm waiting and I'm waiting and I'm waiting, and it was almost to that last second, and sure enough, it happened. I'm thinking maybe it wasn't. maybe he'll live.
So anyway, what were you looking forward to the most with the season 5 premiere?
I was just happy that the whole thing had started over, because this is like my happy place now. This is where I like to spend, leisure quality time.
And it's like visiting old friends.
It is, and you're just dying for a little bit more, and I think that's why the merchandise and everything is going over so well, because you just want a little more Downton in your life.
So what were you looking forward to the most? I mean, I wanted to see who Lady Mary ended up with. And I'm very curious about Bates and Anna, and we want to know who killed Green. So we hope we find that out in this season.
I think Mary's going to take a while to decide. I think there might be a wild card out there yet.
Oh,
I don't know. I mean, she could go any direction.
I don't know, but in this week's opening episode, Lord Gillingham made her a very shocking proposal.
Dirty weekend.
I know, he invited her out for a mini break.
Okay, but do you think that after what happened with Mr. Pamuk, do you think you should let a man who isn't your husband in your bedroom anymore?
That's true.
If it happened twice, you'd be ruined forever. But and she did have the discussion with Anna about trying on parts of the relationship before.
She did, and we know what that was alluding to. Do you remember when she was offering Mr. Bates to become his mistress because he couldn't get divorced from his wife, and she said, there are situations where, and I'd be willing to do that. Do you remember when little Anna?
I do remember that, yeah.
Somebody needs to remind her in this scene, because I don't think she remembered that she was considering that.
Well, maybe she just wants to put on a brave face for Lady Mary because Mary has a history.
That's true. And speaking of history, Lady Edith. We call her Poor Lady Edith.
Poor Edith.
It's part of her name now. Poor Lady Edith.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, how long has it been since we last saw them?
Well, we were figuring, and with the ages of the kids, it must be like year and a half.
A year and a half. Because Edith's baby looks about a year and a half.
Edith's storyline is directly narrated by the wardrobe lady. Because when Lady Edith was in London and being a journalist and, going to Mr. Gregson's apartment and everything.
Fashions were gorgeous and very
and
revealing.
All of a sudden she's kind of drab and sad and in the corner.
Dowdy. Exactly.
Yeah,
that's true.
So I mean, you feel for her. She just cannot catch a break.
Know.
She, finds a man. I mean, maybe Mr. Gregson will come back. Nobody's found a body.
Are we just to assume that he went to Germany and what? And did he become a Nazi? Did he?
No, I don't think he become a
Is
Nazi.
he a secret spy? I mean, it's been
maybe
a year and a half.
Maybe he could come back as a spy.
We'll have to ask Julian Fellows next time we see him.
I don't know how forthcoming he will be, but.
Okay, so Baxter and Barrow. That's a good storyline.
Baxter and Barrow, yeah.
Okay, Thomas, evil footman. Is he a footman? He's an under butler.
Under butler.
Okay, he's an under butler.
every time he does something wrong, he does something to endear himself to them again.
He's like the Teflon butler.
He is.
Really, he gets in trouble and you think, oh good, finally, he's got his comeuppance and we're done with him. And then he does something that brings him back from the dead. So the reason he's brought Baxter into the household, I think, is because clearly he wants to get Bates. He wants to bring Bates down. I mean, I think his whole motivation is to come after Bates. He has her spying.
But I think he also wants to spy on the family. I think he wants as many little things put in his...
He wants, the information so that he can have control, exactly.
Yeah, I think eventually he wants Carson's job. Well, the other downstairs staff has had some, poor Daisy and her math.
Oh, yes, but okay, so Daisy is struggling with math. She wants to become a little more intelligent. She wants to become a woman of the world, and so she's taken mathematics. Although I don't know how mathematics became algebra, because they talk about algebra in the meeting.
And she said she had the brain of a kipper, which I thought was adorable, and I think I'm going to keep that expression.
That's very funny.
Use it on other drivers.
But know, when they discuss that Lord and Lady Grantham are having their 34th wedding anniversary, Daisy immediately says, imagine if I had gotten married this year, 34 years from now in 1958. Yeah. She did that math very quickly.
She did. She's good.
Let's discuss our two guest spots by Jane Austen favorites, Anna Chancellor.
And Harriet Walter.
And Harriet Walter, who we know from Sense and Sensibility, who plays Fanny Dashwood, and Anna Chancellor,
who plays Miss Bingley in Pride and Prejudice, the 95 version. And
also Duckface.
And Julian Fellows threw us a nice little cookie there when he had the Dowager Duchess say, "Oh, you sound like Mrs. Bennet." Yes. I think all the Jane Austen fans just giggled and ate it up.
Because she was alluding to a wealthy man being in want of a wife.
But yeah, Lady Anstruther tucking a note right in Jimmy's pants.
This is Duckface.
Yeah.
Duckface playing Lady Anstruther. How do you say it?
Anstruther.
Anstruther.
Yeah, with her bogus car repair problem.
I know, I loved it.
Oh, looks like I'm going to have to stay the night.
Chasing after the hot valet.
But
I loved it.
Yeah, Lord Grantham coming in, screaming about the fire, doing the double take and saying very coldly, "There's a fire." Boy, if that didn't get me out of the house.
Can we talk about Maggie Smith?
She's wonderful.
She is a treasure.
And the bad matchmaking thing she's up to.
The anti-matchmaker that is she, because she doesn't want to see Cousin Isabel end up with Lord Merton. I'm just going to leave his middle name out. Because she'll rise above her station in life and she'll suddenly become a great lady of the county. And did you see the little jealousy? Maggie had a little jealousy there when she thought, no, I don't want this to happen. So she brings in Harriet Walter to set her up.
But Spratt the butler.
What is with Spratt? Okay, I don't actually understand that. I'll admit it. Why would the butler not be as respectful to any guest of the Dowager Countess?
You'd think that she would really read him out for not being good to her guests.
And all
we've seen him be naughty in the past.
Yes.
You know how he sabotaged Mosley.
Yes.
So Mosley.
Poor Mosley.
And his hair.
Oh, poor Mosley. He's another one that's called Poor Mosley.
Poor Mosley.
I mean, okay, so he has a crush on Baxter, which he's had for a couple of seasons now, which I think is very sweet.
It's very sweet.
Okay, Mosley is one of the characters that I have enjoyed through the years because his story arc, his character arc has just been so funny. I wonder if Kevin Doyle, the actor that plays him, I wonder if he started out as a guest starring role and then was just so compelling in the part it became a regular. Okay, Lady Rose.
Lady Rose.
Yes, who's played by?
Lily James.
What do we think of Lady Rose?
She means well. She does, but she's the one who advertised and last season and got the bad old lady's maid back.
Edna. She does, often doesn't get it right. But, she's kind of like the bright young things that they wrote about in the 20s.
She is. She's the closest they have to a real flapper. Yes. It's interesting to see her progression from when she was so wild. And they had to rein her in from London, and now that she's been presented
to the Queen.
She's official, but she's also not under the influence of her mother anymore.
Mrs. Hughes and Carson, when we last left them, they were on the beach.
Holding hands.
Holding hands, and we all wished and hoped for their romance. Do you think it'll happen?
I don't know. I think, they're very much attuned to their roles in the house.
Yes, they are.
So any sort of courtship they would have would be so under the radar anyway. And Carson, he cracks me up. He doesn't miss a trick.
No, he doesn't.
He catches the note being slid in
He
Jamie's
does.
pants.
No, he's very sharp.
Lady Anstruth.
He's come a long way since being a dancing Charlie.
Yeah, it's Cheerful Charlie.
Cheerful Charlie. The Cheerful Charlies.
Yeah. Okay, so this week we had an extra special treat added on to our episode of Downton Abbey. We had the Manners of Downton Abbey special, hosted by Alistair Bruce, who they let us know was a descendant of Robert the Bruce, and the expert of all things Edwardian and beyond. Yes. So it was so interesting and just
how much he knew.
Yeah, his breadth of knowledge. I mean, from everything from table settings to how you would hold your hands to... I'm really cognizant of my posture now. You might have noticed I haven't leaned back. I've leaned to the side, which I think is a no-no.
Didn't he make a note of, in order to get the young ones to sit up straight, they used to stick
a knife in the chair. The nannies would put a knife in the chair.
To make them sit up straight.
And I liked the part that he had Lady Edith speak about how when you go without gloves, it's like being naked.
Naked? Lady Edith was naked,
half naked,
which means
half naked.
She was in London with Gregson, completely naked,
glove-free, with a man in his apartment
without a glove,
and the stigma that was attached.
Well, apparently so, because she had a baby.
Yeah, well,
she should have kept her gloves on.
Yes. Alistair Bruce would not approve of our setup here, but we do have authentic Downton Abbey merchandise.
Yes, we do.
Yes, we've got the teapot, teacups, two-tier serving plate. We've got English rose tea today.
We have all the so there is a plethora of Downton Abbey merchandise to be purchased for all you Downton Abbey aficionados. And we're going to give you our honest opinion on the merchandise and whether or not it's worth purchasing.
Does it help your Downton fix? Does it satisfy you?
So for the premiere episode, we actually purchased the whole set and had a Downton tea party, just as you see.
There's some other kinds of tea we've got here. We've got the Downton Estate Blend. The canister is graced by the Dowager Duchess under a parasol, very proper. Yes. And the Grantham Breakfast Blend.
So and this lovely two-tiered tea tray is also by Downton Abbey, which we absolutely love. We have our little pastries there.
Yes, it's a nice big teapot. I like the teapot.
The teapot is very nice, and it's really beautiful quality.
It is.
It really
solid.
Is sturdy. And I think, and the print is gorgeous. This is sort of a Downton Abbey print that they now use on their wrapping paper and gift bags and all sorts of wonderful things.
I'd like to know if it was some of the wallpaper or something.
Yeah, what the history is. We'll have to find out. Maybe our viewers can find out for us what the history of this pattern is. Is it a pattern that's actually at Highclere Castle?
We'll have to go and find out, won't we?
We're going to give away this set of 3 teas to one of our lucky viewers. All you have to do is tweet us at Anglophile TV, #DowntonDish, and tell us why you deserve to have these 3 teas. And also just tweet us your questions for next week. What would you like to see on our show? Do you have any questions about Downton Abbey? And
we'll try to find the answers, but we are not experts. We are fans.
We are fans.
Okay.
So, you know, this was our first episode. We're a Los Angeles-based show, but we're in future episodes going to take you around town, maybe to some other fun places. We're hoping to go to the historic Queen Mary.
Maybe some tea rooms around town.
Exactly.
Introduce you to our favorite tea spots.
Yes, our favorite tea spots while watching Downton Abbey, discussing all things Downton.
Does it get better than that?
Exactly. So how great is this job?
Talking about our favorite TV show?
Talking about Downton Abbey while having tea. So thank you so much for joining us on our first episode of the Downton Dish. We'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.